back to our interviews with our amazing Euro members across the world. It's a huge pleasure to introduce you in this edition to Madalina, Andrei, and Elena Antoneac, XpathGlobal. We were just talking before the call. We worked together quite closely in 2013 when you were so helpful to us organising the conference in Bucharest, which is still one of my most memorable events that Euro's done. How are you and how are things right now in Romania?
Thanks a lot, Dominic. Thanks a lot for inviting us. It's a pleasure to be here. Things in Romania. As a summary, I would start with what happened until now, briefly. Being based in Romania, we can say that Romania has witnessed one of the most oppressive quarantine regulations in the EU, as far as we know, for almost 3 months. Extremely limited freedom of movement, everything closed except the basic necessities facilities like supermarkets and so on and so forth. After 3 months of being in a state of emergency, we entered a state of alert, which lasted until 15th of July, when also the summer holidays started. So when you have complete quarantine for 3 months and then you have summer holidays immediately afterwards, you might think that you have a recipe for disaster, which is somehow correct, because the cases basically started to be on the rise. And now we have seen, basically we have reached the highest number of confirmed cases ever registered from the start of the pandemic, with almost 93,000 cases being confirmed. However, overall, like a general mood, let's say, the general mood of our country and of our people, I think I might say it's the mood of any Latin people being confined for more than 3 months, yeah, and upon whom strict regulations are imposed, despite being a high uncertainty avoidance and power distance type of culture. You would expect people to respect rules and regulations and to obey them. I guess the hot Latin blood has a life of its own. So people are we can see a lot of people indeed respecting the rules and applying them, but also others, mostly young people, but not only, apply them in a more relaxed manner, so to speak. Yeah,
that is so interesting. Yeah.
I don't know, Elena, I'm not sure if you agree with me, but perhaps I would also say that people are also more scared of economic consequences of this pandemic. And if you're a parent, more scared of the future well-being of your child, considering that in Romania, all the schools have been closed since March. And now we have 1 week until school starts, and not even now, we're not sure how schools are exactly starting. Yeah, so people are still talking about online methods for another year, or a hybrid manner, or different scenarios, but none of them exactly is the perfect recipe for a child's well-being. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is so difficult, and from that point of view as well, the pressure on the economy of children not being in school, of parents having to do their jobs remotely. So tell me, at this point, how are things with your team? Are you back in your offices, or are you still working from home?
To be honest, we missed the office, really.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. We have colleagues who told us, look, I don't know what we're doing, but I need to go to the office. I need my routine, and it was like a hammer for us. Like, oh my God, in April, we had colleagues who put the pressure on us. We want to go back, but we couldn't, because in Romania, we had this state of emergency. So it was really, really hard to go to the office. But now the team is doing good. The beginning was a bit strange, especially in March, because we have an offline business with all the clients and all the work, immigration, tax and payroll, relocation, and so on. And as well the online business, Xpath. So it was like in March, we had so many projects to handle, and we were desperately searching for more experienced staff to add on the team. Then suddenly lots of projects have been put on hold. So we had to reorganize the team, but as well, we had time to breathe a bit and to be able to analyze internally how we should reorganize. What was extremely good, and this is somehow because I'm quite old in the industry. I have so many years, 13 years already in the industry. I strongly recommend other colleagues in the industry to diversify the product they have, the services they are selling. Because luckily our tax and payroll department had a lot of work to handle, adding on top that because of the furlough period, the Ministry of Labor conducted deep audits on the national level. So we conducted internal audits for our clients on both tax and payroll as well as expatriate files. So we developed in the last 5 years our pool of services, and we're very much focused on compliance consultancy on all angles concerning foreign employees and not only. So those services really helped us to keep moving. Most probably, if we would have had only relocation or only immigration, the situation would have been different.
Yeah, that is a very smart move. And it's weird how timing just kind of made that really so vital. So you've kind of moved, you've diversified out of, service provision into a much broader consulting role. And I mean, also, we were just saying before the call, because I was really interested in that model, that you're doing this in 90 countries.
Yeah, so we have to talk about expats. I will let Madalina to share a bit how expat works, because Madalina is in contact with so many service providers who are in Eura, and she's connected with them on a daily basis because she's handling the onboarding of the providers in our system. Madalina, be the first.
Sure. So as you know, Dom, basically we have developed the first B2B expatriate resource planning enabled marketplace in our industry, which is basically an ecosystem dedicated solely to global mobility industry, where corporate clients will have access to unlimited number of vetted and approved service providers and unlimited number of mobility services all around the world. To explain this a bit in layman terms, so to speak, we all know the concept of booking.com, right? That's a familiar website we all can relate to. Basically, based on a destination country and a destination city that they need, the clients will be able to apply different filters to be able to search for the exact those services that they are looking for and that they need. Yeah, and there are 4 main different categories of services that the marketplace covers. We have our classic destination services. We have the immigration and visa and everything related to compliance. We have the taxation and social security services and the moving and transportation, basically closing an international assignment cycle from the beginning to the end and giving employers the possibility to buy different mobility services at different stages in an assignment. Right. Out of the results that they will be filtering in this marketplace, basically clients will be able to compare and contrast various offers. They will be able to read the descriptions. They will be able to read the scope of work, the fees, and they will be able to make a decision according to their budgets, their needs, their requirements. And once they choose the offer, is just pretty straightforward. You just add the service to cart and press buy. On top of that, the marketplace has a very interesting feature, an RFP tool which is integrated in the marketplace. And it gives clients the possibility to issue requests for pricing, bids, to service providers that are active and present in the marketplace, inviting them for a quote. And we can say that most of the clients that we have been discussing with for this, to present the marketplace, found this feature extremely useful and ready to use, basically. Once the seller meets the buyer and the services are bought, all the three main actors in this process, meaning the provider of the service, the final beneficiary of the service, which is the assignee, and the client company, which is buying the services, which has bought the services, will be in direct contact in our ERP integrated platform, where the entire service and assignment management is carried out. Basically, in brief, for the service providers all around the world, such a marketplace means a new valuable sales channel. It increases their visibility, their brand awareness, and it increases the chances to enlarge the pool of direct clients. And everybody wants direct clients, isn't it?
See, this is why I was so interested to talk to you two, because apart from the fact this is incredibly novel. I mean, this is an incredibly good idea. And there's two things I want to say before I forget. First is, I'd love to do a briefing on diversification, and I'd love to come back to you about doing that further down the line. But secondly, also, we're developing one of the MIM modules at the moment, a MIM Plus, on working with private clients and maintaining your outbound network. And that's exactly what you've done, is created this outbound network for the private clients, like to share amongst your 90 partners across, the different network. There must have been a part of both of you thinking during the pandemic, I'm so glad that we had got this started, because the diversification that it gives you is phenomenal, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you look in our platform, you will see there, the relocation services, and then you will have the immigration area, and then the tax services. And the moving services. But tax services, actually, we want to tackle this and somehow to bring awareness in the industry that especially the corporate clients would expect from our side to cover the end-to-end need for an expatriate. So when we talk about tax, we are not talking about corporate tax, but we are talking about tax related to the expatriates, which is a totally different component. So we are talking about tax, we are talking about social security. We saw that many companies are trying to to expand and to raise and to develop new services dedicated to expatriates. And this is an extremely, let's say, good pool of services, the area of tax. And I strongly recommend to other companies, like, companies which are in the industry, to think about the services, because the companies, they would like to have, a spot for an end-to-end company to take care of their expatriates. Yeah, and it's manageable. It is a quite manageable area.
Yeah, it is really interesting, because everybody that I've been talking to recently, and we ran a briefing last week on, and one of the things that came out of that was consulting. This notion of being the consulting partner, as a mobility expert to your direct clients. It's really good. And I mean, how was the implementation of this across your teams? Like you referred at the beginning to the fact that you were trying to find, the high level of new team members to take this forward. Are they excited?
So actually, let's say that we have two sides of the business. We have the online business. It's the Expat, where we invested a tremendous amount of money, and actually we are backed up by the EU funds.
I saw on you.
Yeah. So we are lucky. Being somehow registered in the European Union, because European Union is really pushing a lot on the technology side. So actually we have the online, which we want to grow, but as well we have the offline with large corporate clients. And how the business was born. actually for so many years working with corporate clients, they came to us and they required support on various countries. So we were just knocking on other partners' door and say, look, I have a client and they would like to send 10 engineers in Spain or in Congo or whatever. And everything was done actually in the offline, as an offline, you know, contacting somebody on the email, asking for a quotation, getting some, you know, information, making some assessments. And we thought that this model cannot go on and on and on. So for us, the amount of requests was many years quite high, and we thought that we cannot handle this into the offline, and even, you know, a small system would not, it's not helpful.
Yeah.
So we looked on the other models, on other industries. So we looked on Amazon, so they have the marketplace. Then we looked on Booking, and we said, look, this really works well, you know, it's a global world, so people and companies should be somewhere. And then we saw Airbnb, which is actually doing the same type of business. And then we realized that this model would fit to our industry because it's a global industry. It tackles, you know, smart companies, large companies, smart people. So technology is quite needed. So this is how we build up the ecosystem. So what we do is actually we move our clients, our own clients from the offline business that we have, and we work with them for 10, 12, 13 years already. We move them to offline. So actually, they do not come directly to us with the request, like I want to send a team of 20 people in China. They go into the platform, they look on the providers who are on the platform, and they can make their own bids. They can have the entire overview on the process, because behind the marketplace, we have an ERP, like an expatriate resource planning. And there they can have full track on what is happening with their expatriates, where they are, how far is the process, if the service provider received all the documents. And when we build the system, we took into account the need of the service provider, because we are service providers as well. So we know the struggles, we know the tensions, we know the stress, and so on.
The frustrations.
Yes.
So we build up in the back like a full system in which they can make the entire work. As well, the HR would see exactly the deliverables without asking all the time or sending emails. Is this finished? Did you apply for this? No, it's everything tracked in the system. So we have less emails, less phone calls, because if you have the full overview on the process, you don't need to call several times the service provider.
It's built-in economies of scale. I mean, from the point of view of like, I'm just fascinated by the journey. You went from concept to delivery. How does that work? I mean, how did you choose your tech partner? Did you bring in an internal team? That's a fascinating story.
Yeah, so it's a long
great
story.
idea, but then how do you make it happen?
Yeah, it's quite a long story, and it was quite hard to first to go into the market and to find the proper team to do that, because our industry is a niche industry. You know, for them it was like, okay, global mobility, okay, you know, so
Yeah.
yeah. So we had many sessions of explanations, and then we organized a tender, because having the funds of the European Union, we are somehow obliged to organize a tender. But I think that we choose the right partners, and we convinced the very best to come with us. But as well, to be honest, we were quite lucky, because we managed from the very beginning to add some advisor from large companies, from large multinational companies, who are experts on marketplaces, because we didn't have this expertise as a marketplace. We knew very well the industry. We know the struggles of an HR. We know the struggles of service providers. We know the struggle of an expatriate. But for us, marketplace was totally new. So we onboarded an advisor who helped us a lot. He's a part of an investment fund, and he's extremely knowledgeable on marketplaces. And this is something that we are very proud of, and we will have a public announcement. We managed to convince former top executive from Amazon to join us. Yeah, so we are extremely proud of that. So we will make the announcement soon. But as soon as we got his approval, and we saw that he's extremely enthusiastic about it, we said, okay, I think it's a huge market, so we are in the right in the right industry. Yeah, we have been somehow backed up with some knowledge, and from this point of view, we were lucky, because otherwise, without the knowledge of how to build a marketplace, it's a bit hard.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So yeah, like I said, I would love to come back to you, say sometime in October, and look at how your journey was in terms of this diversification, in terms of IT. I'll have a think about how we can phrase it, because I think it's just, you know, right now with the amount of shifting that's happening within our industry, it's an extraordinary story that you're telling. So thank you so much for that. So are things now moving again for you, both on your domestic but in your international platform? How has that been impacted? Because obviously you're talking about 90 different marketplaces in countries. How are things? You've got quite a big view.
Yeah. Madalina, how are things?
Yeah, things are pretty good. We launched it at the end of last year in a different major service providers conference in US. We were having on the line, and we were having planned a lot of different events that we're supposed to participate to and promote the marketplace. Among them, Seville, which is which we're looking forward to next year. So everything done up to this point was done remotely.
Right.
Was done via Zooms, via Teams meetings. We have invited approved and vetted service providers all around the world, and we are very thankful to Eura, because the first service providers being onboarded in our marketplace are Eura members, it helped this period. Surprisingly, it helped us, because service providers somehow, perhaps now more than ever, more than before the pandemic started, basically they have acknowledged the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
They have acknowledged the chance. Yeah, they have acknowledged that the opportunity of being able to go out there, be visible, yeah, and access a new channel, a new sales channel, which otherwise was not available before. Yeah. So right now, we are covering 90 countries, and we have around 7,000 active services in all those 4 main categories of services, and we are still growing. So I'm having daily meetings with the service providers all around the world, and
I would like to. Yeah, sorry, Madalina. I would like to add some let's say, some extremely important information in regards to our product. So it's free of charge to join the platform. We offer you the full tools. We offer to the service providers support from one of our consultants on how to build the services, because when you have to put a new, let's say, uniform and to go online and to present yourself, it's a bit different than
whole different thing.
the offline. And this is something quite new for our industry. But we offer like free of charge support from our colleagues to, you know, and my colleagues, they actually make a training with everybody in regards to how they should promote, what services they should sell, how the text should be to be catchy and so on. All like for all the transactions, because of the COVID, we until March 30, 2021, we will not commission any transaction on the platform. So it's totally free of charge. Even if you sell, you buy, it's free of charge. And then after the 1st of April 2021, we will add a referral fee, because we need to keep the technology going, and in the back it's a huge investment.
No, absolutely.
And the marketing, of course.
I might add here, Elena, that the referral fee that we'll be using is a very comfortable referral fee, one that is customarily used in our industry.
But I think it's really interesting that, again, you know, what's come out of this from so many people that I've spoken to has been, you know, the connections and the collaboration between the members of Eura, actually talking to each other in different ways and finding different ways to work together. And I think, you know, that's what you've achieved seamlessly here. But I can imagine when it came to March and you could see your year, which was going to be education, going to the conferences, onboarding the other partners, and then you suddenly see, that's all gone.
Stop.
It's like, suddenly it's like, we're going to do this all through Zoom. But you managed it, which is amazing. It's great.
Yeah, the start was a bit, was quite hard, you know. March, April, everybody was confused. People were depressed. Oh my God.
Imagine, Elena, just a second. Imagine that we were just out of the winter holidays, basically.
That's right.
So you had your period of winter holidays when everybody was skiing, and then came 1st of March when the hell was loose.
No, absolutely. And it kind of, I mean, I remember it's the similar sort of feeling when, you know, when we had to postpone Seville, and then, you know, you think, well, we have to put other things in place, and you start to do things online. But the frustrating thing, as I was saying to Tad yesterday, it's like arranging an online conference is all of the work, but none of the fun. And in a way, what you've done, you know, all of the great stuff was the networking, the seeing your partners in the industry, and suddenly you're doing it all online. But
correct.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we're surviving. It's good anyway, but we are, I don't know how Madalina feels, but me and talking to other members of the team, we really are in need to go somewhere, you know. I have some friends and they have to go to Poland, they have to travel to Poland to a meeting, but actually they have to take the car, and they are not allowed to stop until they reach Warsaw. And I'm like,
wow.
Oh my God. And they will be allowed only to reach only some routes. So
wow.
I think everybody feels the same way, Elena, and Dom. I'm really looking forward for Seville. It will be a very interesting conference. Very interesting. Everybody.
You know,
it should be two weeks, please.
2 weeks.
I know.
Exactly.
It's so true, isn't it?
2 weeks.
It's like when we were talking about it, with the team this week, and you know, one of the things about moving it obviously into June was a much higher likelihood of being able to go ahead with it. But then we were like, well, will we still have the gala dinner venue because they might be booked, or will we still have the party night venue? And we were saying, like, I don't think anyone will care. I think if we run the car park, people would be happy.
Exactly.
You know,
that's the feeling. The car park, whatever.
As long as we're together and we've got a glass of wine, that's it.
Or two or more.
Two. You're not kidding. I will be the first one to buy you that. Look, it's been really fascinating to talk to you. Thank you so much for taking the time. And I would really like to come back to you and, as I say, talk about maybe doing a briefing further after the full forum on diversification, because I think this is a very interesting model, a fascinating way that you put it together. And I think for the members to see, you know, these kind of stories of innovation during such a strange period is incredibly empowering. So thank you.
Thank you. We would be very happy.
Great. We'll talk about it, definitely. But listen, thank you so much. Stay well and stay safe. And I hope very, very much that we'll see each other in Seville in 8 months, 9 months time.
Counting.
In the meantime, take care and thank you so much. Lovely to see you.
Thanks a lot, Dom. Thanks a lot.
Okay, bye.
Bye.